How are you today? Happy Sunday, June the 30th. And I only have one scripture per day. And my scripture for today is found in Acts chapter 12, verse 12. And I'm going to read it to you verbatim. So when he had considered this, when he's talking about this is Peter. We're talking about Peter. That he is Peter. When he had considered this, he came to the house of Mary. Now, the Bible could have said he came to the house of his wife, or he came to his own house. But for some reason, the Bible, who says Mary was a mother of John Mark, and Peter was a father of John Mark, in his first epistle of Peter, for some reason, the Bible doesn't make the connection. But it is my firm, foundational, educated hypothesis of working hypothesis, is that both Mary of Jerusalem and Peter were married. And the real author of the book of Mark is not Mark, but Peter. He's just dictating it to his own son. The Gospel of Mark. So this Peter is in jail, waiting for Herod. You know, there are three Herods in the Bible. Herod the Great, or the baby killer. Herod, the other one, the head chopper, the one who killed and beheaded John the Baptist. And Herod, the worm lover, the one who loved the worms. Well, that's the third one. This one had Peter in jail. You know, the one who says, oh, I gave a good speech. This is the greatest speech. And the people started saying, oh, voice of God, not voice of man. Voice of God. That's the third Herod. Anyway, let's go back to the story. He came to the house of Mary. This Peter came to the house of his wife. Maybe because she paid the mortgage, not him. The mother of John, whose surname was Mark. John, whose surname was Mark. John Mark, son of Peter, son of Mary. Where many had gathered together to pray for the release of Peter. And they were praying, and all of a sudden somebody knocks at the door. And you know the story. Rhoda goes to the door, and she's so excited that she forgets Peter knocking at the door. And then it was Peter. He comes in, and they were praising with music and thankfulness to God. That is the lesson for today, and I would like to finish with two stories. The first is the story of the Bible, or I call it Revelation. Then comes the inspiration. And then comes the illustration. So I always like to tell you, scripture, text, illustration. Scripture, text, illustration. So let's go to the text, and now let's go to the illustration or the finale story. I want to finish with the one that I just witnessed here in Manila. As you can see, this room, this beautiful room with the beautiful walls and the swimming pool, is the penthouse of my friend Myrna Calderon, the wife of Jermaine Calderon from the White Memorial Church. Wonderful friends. They are allowing me to stay here for free. That's a $2,000 value, almost. And thank you, by the way. And I hope if you watch this dispatch, this daily podcast, Myrna, thank you for this wonderful gift of your penthouse in Makati, Manila. My wife and I went to the Mall of Asia, a few minutes away, and we get off the taxi. Taxi people are friendly, by the way. Everyone loves the foreigner. And I opened the door, and my wife gets out. We're ready to cross the street when all of a sudden, a police security guard with a huge, looks to me like a rifle. It must be a machine gun, but to me it looked like a rifle. Huge. You have to wait. And so we're wondering, we didn't say anything, but we're wondering, why do we have to wait? And about 1,000, that was the answer to our question, 1,000, maybe 2,000 graduates of a nearby high school. Now, it could be college because Filipinos, you look younger than their age. Could be college. Could be university graduates. I'm not sure. But 2,000 of them, 1,500 of them, 2,000 of them were crossing the street. And the security guard was stopping the crowd. And we were part of the crowd. When all of a sudden, in the middle of those student parent, each one was walking with a parent. And judging by the features, you can tell it was a father or the mom, father or mom. But all of a sudden, in the middle of the line, as we were waiting with a lot of expectation, ready to cross the street and go into the mall, all of a sudden we see a young graduate holding on to the hand of a handicapped lady. A lady this size, maybe 4 feet 11, 4 feet 10, or even shorter. I imagine the conversation of this handicapped, crippled woman in the morning. Maybe she said, "Hey son, why don't you just get your diploma by yourself? I don't want you to be ashamed of me. I don't want you to be embarrassed. Look, I can barely walk. I limp every time I move." "No, Mom, I want you to be there." "But why?" "Because you're the one who fed me. You're the one who supported me. And this diploma belongs to you." "But why? You could receive it by yourself." Maybe the boy said, "Because I love you, Mom, and I'm going to be proud of you." Anyway, maybe that was a conversation, but as they were walking, I saw a proud student holding on to the hand of a woman with a twisted ankle, with a twisted foot, facing the other way, in a very poor country, incapable of fixing the issue with medical help. Yet she was walking, holding on to the hand of the child, telling the world, "This is my beloved son." And the boy telling the world, "This is my beloved mother. And I'm proud of her. And she's proud of me," in the good sense of the word. As I was watching, I saw my wife. She wanted to run, but she couldn't cross the street because of the traffic. She wanted to run and give a little bit of money here and there. Almost in tears, she was moved by this picture of a wonderful boy who was not ashamed of his parents. This reminded me of a story that my mom told me before she died. A story that I heard since I was 5, 6, of a very sad medical student in Mexico. Day of graduation comes and he looks at the invitation. He is able to invite his parents, but he thinks to himself, "Oh, my parents are peasants. My mom is a peasant. I don't want her coming here. I am a sophisticated medical doctor. What would my friends think? What would my girlfriend think? I'm a little bit of ashamed of my rancho. I don't want a rancho woman in my graduation." But she made a trip. And on the day of the graduation, he's wearing the toga, the gown. He's ready to receive his diploma. And when his name is called and he receives the graduation document in his hands, he looks to the left and the roaring crowd is clapping. And he looks to the right and thousands of people are celebrating his graduation. But at the corner of his eye, he distinguishes a woman. And he says, "That's my mom." But he's embarrassed. He looks the other way and the woman was yelling at the top of her lungs, "Bravo, mijo! Bravo, mijo! Bravo! Bravo!" As he's walking down the steps, instead of embracing his mom, he looks the other way, pretends that he doesn't recognize, and he walks. He's embarrassed of her. That action hurt her feelings, but she thinks to herself, maybe he didn't see me. I'm gonna go to the back. So she runs to the back, and as he's walking out of the big gathering place, he's walking down the steps. Again, she starts yelling, "Bravo, bravo, mi hijo, bravo!" But again, he looks at her, And he's embarrassed of her. And he looks at his friends, his girlfriend, medical doctor classmates. And he starts walking away from her. That woman was extending her little arms. Bravo! And tears started coming down her eyes, sobbing, Bravo! Bravo! Her heart was shattered. She had sold her farm so he can go to school. She had given every single penny. She even sold her sewing machine so he can go to school. But here was a boy, ashamed. A woman with a hat of a peasant, with a blouse of a peasant, with the shoes of a peasant, but with a heart of gold. 2 weeks later, she was in the hospital and she was dead because she couldn't take it any longer. I don't know who I'm preaching to right now. I don't know who's listening to this little channel. Maybe you are in Manila. Maybe you're in the US. Maybe you're in Mexico. I don't know. But I just want to tell you something. No one loves you on this planet, under the sun, more than your parents. No one loves you more than your parents. Don't be like the second story. Don't be like the third story. Be like John Mark, who one day of his life left the ministry, left the mission field to be with his mother in Jerusalem. Because he said, my mom comes first. My family comes first. I'm going to dedicate a few months. I'm going to take care of her. And once I'm done with her, then and only then will I be a successful missionary with Paul, with Barnabas. It doesn't matter. With God. But first things first, my mother in Jerusalem is first. Happy Sunday. I'll see you tomorrow.